Alright, fellas. You saw the thumbnail. You know what time it is. We're ranking every single Resident Evil game that I've played before the release of Resident Evil 9. So, I pretty much have played like most of these, or at least like the ones that have mattered, or the ones that matter. Uh, there are major omissions here, like mainline games I just straight up haven't played. But I'll make up for that someday. I promise. Maybe on the channel. Because I don't know, the games I haven't played for a reason. Like some of them, I just you could not make me care about. And I know that the community isn't going to be too happy with the ones I don't necessarily like. So, starting off strong with rage baiting the Resident Evil community. I don't really like the first one. I mean, I had fun with like just the scale of it and with how much you can do. I really like the characters. The script isn't as corny as the first game, or as the first game, but it's still pretty corny, and I like it. The atmosphere in the game is incredible. I don't really find the first game to be scary because I typically don't find third person games to be all too scary, especially like older games. I don't know what it is, but like old horror games don't really get me. By old, I mean like games from like I want to say 2003 and below. Those games don't really get me like that. So this game, flawed but enjoyable. One of my major problems with this game is just how slow it is to do anything. One of the best things about Resident Evil as a franchise is that you can pretty much just pick up the game. Like, in my opinion, if I play a Resident Evil game, like the thing that's gonna make me keep coming back to that game is how quickly I can replay it in one sitting. That's why a lot of these games are going to be so high up because they're they're relatively quick, and I feel like with Resident Evil 1, just like it's just a product of its time. I mean, the controls are a little annoying to get used to, but that's not even like a major issue because the remake has the option to not even use tank controls. Although I'd understand why, like even without the tank controls, the control is still annoying because, like for instance, you'll be moving down a hallway and the camera angle will change, and then your character will kind of freak out when you want to change direction if you still are pressing down on the move button. It's just stuff like that, and a lot of the stuff that the game just like sort of doesn't tell you. Again, it's a game. It's a product of its time. I really like the fact that this is a remake that only built upon the original. It's completely faithful. It only improves on what was already there. And they have new mechanics and stuff that make the game more scary and more enjoyable. So that's why I have it in flawed but enjoyable. I know this is a lot of people's favorite Resident Evil game, but I feel like in order for this game to be your favorite, it has to be something that you sort of grew up with. And I have a soft spot for some of the Resident Evils that I grew up with, but I mean, I can still see the flaws in those. So I mean, I don't know what it is about Resident Evil 1 fans, but they praise every aspect of this game, and I can understand some of it, but some of it's like, come on. So we're actually going to add another tier below this. Add a tier below. We're at a row below here. And I'm just gonna say haven't played, and I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Well, actually, let's do another one because there is another category. So wait, where'd that tier just go? All right, and let me go ahead and change the colors here. So Resident Evil 2, where is it? The original. Here we go. I haven't finished it. I started it, and I thought that I really liked it aesthetically. I thought the graphics were very cozy. This is definitely a game I can see like someone playing when they're like real close to the TV. It's late at night, maybe it's thunderstorming, and you just have your controller, and you're just completely immersed into the game. But I don't know. I sort of like played it. Like I played for like 2 hours, just exploring and kind of getting a feel for the game. And then when I stopped playing that session, I sort of just never picked it up, and I never had like the urge to pick it back up. But I like the remake, so maybe one day I'll go back, or on the channel we can go back. Let's see. So I'm gonna say like I'm gonna put it at great, but I haven't finished the game, so I'm gonna put it down here. But from what I did play, it would be a great game. Let's see. Resident Evil 3, I have not played, although it's on PlayStation Plus, so I mean, I guess I can play it one day. And also, it's like $5 on PlayStation right now. Code Veronica X. Now, this is where people are really gonna hate me, but this is the the most overrated game in the franchise, and I have not finished it. I have only beaten about 3/4 of the game, and I just get so frustrated with how outdated this game is. I think it would really, really benefit from a remake. I think I honestly would not be mad if we got a Resident Evil 1 style remake for this game, because I feel like if we got a Resident Evil 1 remake for this game, I could easily just put this game up here, like right next to it. Like they'd be on par for me. But it's just the game is too outdated. The other game modes are cool, but they're just frustrating. Um, and Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. I can understand why some people like it, but it's just not for me. Resident Evil 4, it's peak. I mean, it's one of the best Resident Evil games. It has the best balance from horror to action that the whole series has been trying to achieve again. Um, and it just has not reached the same level of balance that Resident Evil 4 has. I mean, it's campy, it's funny, it's scary, it's engaging, and also it's just so easy to just pick up and play. Like you could just start like a new game plus, or you could start a whole new you could just start like a whole new file, and then you could just sit there and just play the game for hours, and you could play the game a billion times and you will not get bored. That's how good this game is. It's something that you can always go back to. It's so accessible. Like this is the perfect Resident Evil game to get people into if they like classic gaming. If they like around, I want to say PS2, GameCube style games. If maybe if someone's like older, then like and they were alive back when those consoles came out, then I can understand. Then this would be like the perfect Resident Evil game to put them on. Because I mean, it's just the gameplay's amazing, the story's engaging. You don't really need to play. That's another thing about Resident Evil that I love so much. Besides like Resident Evil 8, you don't need to really play the other Resident Evil games to understand what's happening, and I really appreciate that. They kind of spell everything out for you, and I mean, every game always has like not every game, but like most games have some sort of recap, or they have so many times of characters just telling you what's happening. It's so easy to get into. It's the perfect Resident Evil game to get people into it. Again, if they're older, I say that because a lot of the complaints about this game is that you can't move and shoot. But I mean, this is kind of the same thing as the first game. Like, the game is built around the fact that in this game, not only can you not move and shoot, but it's a fixed camera angle. The horror of the game is built around that. The gameplay mechanics are built around that. So that's how I feel about this game. But I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I love it. So the next game is Resident Evil 5. Where is it? Where is 5? There it is. Flawed but enjoyable. Actually, so I'm going to put it in major problems, but it's at the very, very top of major problems, almost flawed but enjoyable, because this game is just very, very frustrating to play, especially by yourself. The AI companion isn't very good. The story is just okay. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. The gameplay does not expand enough from Resident Evil 4 for me. The inventory system is much worse, and I really, really don't like how you have to constantly manage not only your inventory system, but the inventory system of an AI that likes to dump bullets into everything that they see. And I don't know what it is about Resident Evil 5 because in the beginning of the game, Sheva is very hands-on. She's engaging with enemies very often, and then the ally companion sort of takes a back seat near, I want to say, like around the halfway to third quarter of the game, third fourth quarter of the game, because I mean, like, I don't know. It's just because I remember I would always give Sheva the Magnum, and then I would the Infinite Magnum, and then I would have the rocket launcher with Chris because I didn't want Sheva to accidentally blow me up. And I don't know. I'd just be sitting there waiting for her to shoot something, and she's just staring at me, and I'm and that confused me a lot. But yeah, this is actually my first Resident Evil game because I remember playing with my dad on his Xbox 360, and that's when I first got introduced to Resident Evil. So I just know that this is very, very biased, it being this high, because I know some people hate this game. But like, if you're playing with a co-op partner, not only does it make the game infinitely easier, but I say the game is like up here in co-op. It's such a fun action experience when you're playing with a co-op partner who knows where like all the jewels are. Someone who knows how the game works, someone who can like help you with the puzzles, and like I don't remember what it was like to have that first playthrough because I cannot remember a time before I remembered everything about Resident Evil 5. That's how long ago that like I played this. That's how long ago it was. I cannot remember a time before I didn't know the whole game. So I mean, like I wonder what that first playthrough is like with so like playing co-op with someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Like I think that would be fun. So I do hope that when they remake this game, that they keep the co-op because that I mean it'd be pretty nice to play the game with someone and experience it for the first time again. So Resident Evil 6, terrible. Next, Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7, I'm going to put in great gains. So this is the first person Resident Evil game, and it's also until Requiem comes out the I think the best first person Resident Evil game, and that's simply because the game is so scary and everything in the game works so well and be around the first person that I think it's you cannot miss this experience as a Resident Evil fan. The first playthrough of Resident Evil 7 is just it's amazing. Like it's the best survival. I was gonna say the best first person survival horror game, but I'm not gonna say that. Uh, it's I like the new character Ethan. I think that he's kind of funny because he has all these crazy things happening to him and he doesn't even really react. But like Mia is amazing in this game. She's terrifying. I didn't really care for Evelyn. I thought that she was an okay antagonist. I think that she kind of takes a back seat when I think she kind of takes a back seat because Jack and Marguerite Baker are just so good in this game. Like their performances in this game are amazing. When Marguerite catches you in the Mia tape, she lets out this scream, and it is the most blood curdling scream that you will ever hear in a horror game. Like and then she sprints at you. That's the kind of stuff that I love. I love how scary this game is. It went back to it's an actual Resident Evil. It kind of feels like we haven't really had one of those since Resident Evil 1, because you're in one big house the whole game, besides a boat section that kind of sucks. You're in one big house the whole game fighting evil residents. I mean, it's the most Resident is the most Resident Evil that the series has been in a long time. But this game does have some issues. I think that Ethan moves way too slow. He moves so slow, and then the beginning of this game on repeat playthroughs is so slow. Like it's just one log intro, and then you finally get, especially when you're playing the game again with all your bonus weapons. It does not speed up the it does not speed up the game whatsoever. Well, I guess it kind of speeds up the Jack Baker fight, but by then you have access to the inventory box, so you can use all your stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's one of my favorite Resident Evil games, and we're going to be replaying this game when it comes to Switch 2. I'm going to be unboxing the Resident Evil collection that they released with 7, 8, and 9. And I'm going to be replaying this game on the channel along with the next game, Resident Evil Village. I think this game is pretty good. It's the first Resident Evil game that I got into by myself because I remember, again, my dad got it on Xbox, and I was much older, and I understood like how games worked more. And I remember playing the game like 8 times in one weekend. Like, it was like the addiction was crazy. I was coming straight home from school and playing this game, and I wasn't playing anything else. And I have a lot of fond memories with Resident Evil 8, but I also remember, excuse me, I also remember a lot of issues with Resident Evil 8. For instance, the base game Mercenaries is god awful. It is so bad. The like that's another thing I forgot to bring up with 4 or 5. I'll bring that up later. With with 4 and 5, is that the mercenaries in those games were so good because 4 had characters that 4 had characters that I think that's the first time in a Resident Evil game you could play as an antagonist. I think so. If my memory serves me well, that's the first time you can play as an antagonist in a Resident Evil game. But in this game, like I think the only two playable characters was Chris and Ethan on release, and that kind of sucked because I mean you play as Ethan the whole game, and then you play as Chris for like not even an hour. It's like you play as Chris for like 25 minutes, and then that's all you have to play in the mercenaries. But I really like the roguelike system that they introduced with the mercenaries in Resident Evil 8. I think it's amazing. I hope that Resident Evil 9 has that as well. And I think that yeah, the base game of Resident Evil Village is like I kind of want to bring it down over here because the base game is like right here, and then gold is like up here. Yeah, I like that. I like that more. But yeah, Resident Evil 8 really good, but it has a lot of issues. A lot of those issues stemming from the game kind of losing its place, and it has a lot of pacing issues. Like the intro of the game is very good, and then the game kind of loses a lot of steam when you the game kind of loses a lot of steam until you get to House Demetress. It's very quickly, but I mean they sort of introduce these characters that you don't really care about because they die immediately. And that kind of disappointed me because when they released the trailers for Resident Evil Village, they had all of these characters all over they had the old lady, they had Louisa, and you could see everyone in the house. You were like, who are these characters? And it kind of sucks that you don't really get to save any of them. So yeah, I mean, you kind of just have only Ethan just by himself, like Ethan and the Duke, the whole game, just interacting, and it kind of felt weird. But you know, it's a Resident Evil story, so I can't ask too much from it. But it could be a little better. Another issue I have with this game is that Mother Miranda is, I think, one of the worst Resident Evil antagonists because she appears in 3 scenes in the whole game, and then one of those scenes is like a still flashback, and then she just you see her at the beginning. She gives you to Heisenberg. You escape Heisenberg. You get flasks later in the game. You put them in. You get a flashback to Miranda picking up Rose from the vehicle she flipped over, and then you're at the end of the game. So I mean, that's kind of yeah. Yeah. I don't like Miranda at all. And then on top of that, it's like um on top of that, it's like they have all this Lady Dimitrescu stuff in Resident Evil now, and I do not care for it simply because, I mean, you have this whole underdeveloped villain that you learn about through like files in the game, and then that's it. But the big tall vampire lady is the one that's all over the marketing, and I'm like, what about Miranda? What about the new villain that you suddenly introduced that you said has been there from the very beginning? I mean, it's just it's I would be less mad at it if they didn't show how much they regretted killing off the side villain more than the main villain. Both are underdeveloped, but I guess Lady Dimitrescu is more forgivable because in the grand scheme of the game, she doesn't really matter. But so yeah, I mean that's just how I feel about Village. Next, I want to talk about Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. Revelations 1, I have not finished because I did not like it. I have played the game for like 4 hours and then I just stopped playing. Resident Evil Revelations 2 is kind of bad, but I kind of like it. I think because it's the only 3D Claire Redfield focused game, and even then she has to split it with Barry Burton, who also deserves more screen time in Resident Evil. But I mean, I don't really care for Barry as much as I care for Claire. And then she's in this game, in Revelations, and Dark Side Chronicles, and Resident Evil 2, and 2 Remake. And you kind of see this issue of, okay, besides Revelations 2 and Code Veronica, why are we only really using Claire Redfield in Raccoon City stuff? I mean, it would be amazing if she appears in Resident Evil 9, but I mean, I doubt that's going to happen. It would be nice, but I doubt that's going to happen. So I just wish that Claire Redfield would get more love. I do really like that the 3D animated Resident Evil movies are giving more attention to Claire. But I mean, yeah, uh, the game is the gameplay is just inventory system. I don't like it. You can't really expand upon it, and the game does not depend. I mean, inventory management is just it's non-existent really. Even Resident Evil 5, the game with one of the worst inventory systems. Like the only good thing I like about Resident Evil 5's inventory is that the game doesn't pause when you open your inventory, so you're a little more vulnerable. I mean, because in other Resident Evil games, you can just pause your screen. It's kind of the Breath of the Wild problem. How you pause your screen and then you get like, you can heal, you can change equipment, You could do all this stuff, and then you unpause, and you're just right back to normal, and then the enemies are still hurt. It's kind of unfair and very exploitable. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can literally like right before you're hit, you can pop a bunch of defense potions, and then you can heal yourself to full, and then you're just good. I mean, that's kind of cheesy. And I really like that in Resident Evil 5, you can combine ammo with your gun to reload it, but it's less cheap here because I mean it doesn't unpause. So if your gun takes forever to reload, then you can if you're quick you can do that, and that's really nice. This game, I believe it's the exact same way how the game does not pause when you open your inventory, but then inventory system doesn't really it doesn't really matter. And I have a huge issue with this game that I'm going to touch on later with a later game. How the guns just don't feel, you don't feel that strong in this game. Like you feel like you're firing Nerf bullets, and I really don't like that. But with that being said, I love the aesthetic of the game. I love the premise of the game. The story's pretty interesting. The time skip's kind of weird, but I mean I don't really care about it. So yeah, it's going right here. Next, I want to talk about some fodder. So I have not played the original Resident Evil. I have not played the 3DS game. I have not played Outbreak 1 or Outbreak or this one. I have not played either of them. This game I have played. Trust me, just trust me. It's a live service Resident Evil game. Uh, this one, this one is a bit more forgiving because I mean you get the game for free when you buy Resident Evil 3. It's free content and it's fun for one afternoon, but after that, I mean you just forget it exists and you never touch it again. So I'm just gonna put it right there, but it's above Umbrella Chronicles. Let's see what else. Survivor, I have not played. Gaiden, I have not played. Dead Aim, I have not played. Oh, I'm putting these in haven't finished. Whoops. Let me move these before I look like a fraud. Let me move those. Okay. Resident Evil Zero. I have the game. I booted it up and then I like played for 2 seconds and then I stopped. So I mean, there's nothing to really say about the game. It's just whatever. Director's Cut. I have not played. I have not played this version of Code Veronica. Yeah, so Dark Side Chronicles, I played for the first time a few hours ago, and I kind of liked it. I mean, it was kind of fun. I thought that. Let me move this. There we go. I thought that it had a lot of issues, but the issues is that like the main issue I have is just accessibility, because you have to stream the game on PlayStation, and moving with the joysticks is kind of awkward. But I know there's probably a way that you can use gyro on that game. So yeah, I mean it was pretty fun. Screw whoever decided to put spiders in this game. Yeah, cause that did get me. Next, I want to talk about the remakes. Oh wait, hold on. I have not played Operation Raccoon City or the Umbrella Chronicles. I'm new with those. Or Survivor. Okay, the rest I have played. Cool. So let's start with Resident Evil 2. Um, it's easily one of the best Resident Evil games I've ever played. It is, if you want to get someone into Resident Evil, just tell them to get this game. It's constantly on sale. I believe it's on sale again because we got that ad during the Game Awards. It has so much content. It also has some free DLC, which is really nice. Or not DLC, free extra modes. It is the most Resident Evil feeling game. Uh, it's the most Resident Evil third person game. Let me say that. Because, like, this is the most Resident Evil third person game. This is the most Resident Evil first person game. So, like, these two, if you play these two, you're gonna get a good feel of what the series is currently like right now. It's these two are the most faithful to what makes Resident Evil Resident Evil. And still, even if you are like a fan of the original, this game has the original soundtracks. This game has the classic outfits. I mean, it's just the gameplay is amazing. I really like how this game values strategic play because you can't go around killing everything. The game looks beautiful. The voice acting is pretty good. The story, it's one of the best Resident Evil stories. That's one of the best, like one of the most compelling set of characters. Um, One of my favorites is Marvin. Like you really feel for Marvin in the beginning of the game. But I'm not going to say too much in case someone hasn't played Resident Evil 2. But the game is just it's so good. It's a must play. Resident Evil 3 remake. Uh, it's not good. It's not good. It's like it's easily replayable. I like the difficulty settings, even though they kind of feel all muddy together. But it's not very good. It's they have taken out so much and completely gutted the original Resident Evil 3 that it feels rushed, especially because these two were in development at the exact same time. So I mean, like you kind of see where all the love went, and I kind of hate that right now with Resident Evil. Jill is just stuck with the first game, the game where she was mind controlled for 75% of it, and then the rushed remake that reuses assets. I don't get how you make a game that reuses all of its, not all, because there's new stuff, but I want to say like 90% of its assets are reused, and we still can't get a full complete game. That just blows my mind. You never really feel like you can get comfortable with Resident Evil 3. You can never really feel like you can get your feet planted and then like be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what the game is gonna be like. I can sit here and I can be immersed. The game does not give you time to be immersed. Every other Resident Evil game here that I have played, well, every other mainline Resident Evil game has time for you to be immersed. Some of them are more confused than others, but at least that you can be like you can be immersed in the game. Resident Evil 4 remake is it's the best game of all time all over again. The combat is amazing. The game looks beautiful. The game has so much content. It's so faithful to the original. It only adds. It doesn't really subtract like that. The let's see. How should I word this? It's like getting it's like getting a pizza, and the pizza is really good. And then you go, you know what? I want this pizza again. And so you go to the pizza place, and you found out that Gordon Ramsay came, revamped the whole place, and he serves you the best pizza you've ever had all over again. That's how this game feels. This game feels like so much love went into it. It still keeps the core of what the original Resident Evil 4 has. It adds so much, like the parry mechanic. I really hope the parry mechanics in Resident Evil 9. Judging from the gameplay, the bar next to the axe in the gameplay, if you look at the UI, it looks like a durability meter. I really hope it is, because that might mean that we can possibly parry with Leon in Resident Evil 9. I really hope we can. But the music is so good in this game. The atmosphere is amazing, and the game is literally the perfect length for a Resident Evil game. Like it's so good. Yeah, it's peak. This is, I'd say, if you want to get into the series, play 2, 7, let's see, 2714. I think that works. I think that works because two is what two it's the most, not the most modernized, because Resident Evil 4 is the most modernized Resident Evil. It's the most over well-rounded Resident Evil game. And then 7 is the best feel of what the series is currently going to offer. With because we're looking from or judging from Resident Evil 9, we're gonna keep getting um, first person Resident Evil games, and I am down for it. And then one for some of the more complex, not for everyone Resident Evil games, because I mean it's still a classic. I still think the game is really good, but it has a lot of issues. But I think that you have to get into the series before you start playing the more difficult stuff. Because if I started with this game, I would not be a Resident Evil fan. I just wouldn't. I would have probably written off the series for a long time. But yeah, the banned footage DLC, I have not played. Or yeah, I have not played. Because I got the base Resident Evil 7, so I never got the chance to play banned footage. But I have seen bits and pieces of banned footage, and what I've seen I really like. Um, the Chris Not a Hero DLC is free in Resident Evil 7. That's another reason why it's some great games. Shadows of Rose. Okay, I'm going to count Shadows of Rose with Resident Evil Gold. I'm just gonna count them. I'm gonna count them together. Because they all came at the same time. In my eyes, it's just one big package. Okay, so back back to the tier list. Um, so third person, Shadows of Rose and Mercenaries. So I know that this DLC practically like bumps this game up like a whole tier at least. But my biggest problem with this DLC right here is that it came out like a year and a half after the game. Like it was so long after the game came out that it was kind of like I don't know. I get that they were working on Resident Evil 4 remake at the time, but having to wait a year and a half for DLC, especially DLC that reuses a bunch of assets from the base game, it kind of sucks. And you'll see that like other DLCs don't have that issue here. And also like I don't know what it is, but because they don't want you to see Ethan's face, Ethan is very stiff in third person mode. He still feels nicer in third person mode, but he moves so stiffly. Like I forgot which part it is in the game, but when you go up on the ledge, Ethan is like he moves like an action figure. It's so strange. And again, I do not understand why they want to cover up Ethan's face so much that limits so much for the character. I get that they want him to feel like an everyman, but when we're in Resident Evil Village, we're past him being an everyman. By then, we already know his motives. He's an established character. He had a whole game to be an everyman sort of character. Kind of like how Nintendo, again, calling back to Zelda, Nintendo stopped letting you name Link after Skyward Sword because I mean, yeah, he's supposed to kind of be like a self insert sometimes, but like he's a well established character now. And I mean, I just think that they shouldn't have been too scared to take that risk, especially because they wanted to implement something as revolutionary as third person as well as first person in a Resident Evil game for the first time. And I just wish that they weren't. Well, not for the first time, because I mean, Survivor. But, I mean, we don't talk about Resident Evil Survivor. So yeah, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this in great. I'm counting this as gold. It's not above 7 because 7 still has shockingly more content than Resident Evil Village. It has more content. It has End of Zoe, the free Chris DLC. It has Jack's 55th birthday, the Clancy Chronicles, where that man goes through the worst kind of torture imaginable. And yeah, so I just think that Resident Evil 7 did better with its expansions, especially because we didn't have to wait a whole year and a half after the game came out for a story expansion, which was my biggest issue. Separate Ways is probably the best Resident Evil DLC that I've played. I'm gonna put it up here. Uh, Separate Ways is literally like it's so good. You get a whole new character that you can play as in like story segments because I believe you could also play as Ada in the Mercenaries when the Mercenaries came out. But when the Mercenaries did come out, I didn't play too much of it because that's back when I sucked at Mercenaries. Um, so and I was still traumatized from the trophy in Resident Evil Village to get an S rank on all Mercenary stages. So yeah, I think the DLC is amazing. It adds so much to the game. We didn't have to wait stupid long for it. It was $10, and it's $10 and like 10 hours of content minimum. Like it's so good. You can unlock all the same like pretty much all the same things you can for Leon, like the cat ears, which give you infinite ammo. There's unlocks after you complete the game. It's super easy to pick up, and it subverts the expectations of what you expect Separate Ways to be. Because the original Separate Ways was kind of watered down. You can tell that a lot more love and care went into the base game than Separate Ways, and you kind of still see that here, but it's a lot less apparent. Because when you go to Separate Ways, and the cutscenes look significantly worse than the base game than in the original game. The cutscenes look significantly worse in Separate Ways. It kind of pulls you out of it, and it's so short. But I mean, it's also like it's DLC, free DLC, mind you, for a not even DLC. It's another mode. Sorry, it's a free new mode that has you going from a whole nother perspective. And Resident Evil by this time is known for that with Resident Evil 2. And kind of Resident Evil 3 as well. 2 and 3, the originals. Because Resident Evil 3 had the option to go to like divert different paths. But I mean like that it didn't really change much in the long run, but it was still nice to have. So I mean, yeah, Separate Ways is amazing. It's only $10, which is insane to me, and it's easily my favorite Resident Evil DLC. Again, I have not played Banned Footage. I have not played End of Zoe, but we're gonna play it on the channel when the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Resident Evil 7 comes out. So yeah. And now, lastly, lastly. Oh boy. I have been dreading talking about this game because I know a lot of people love it, but I have a very love-hate relationship with it. Let's say in a whole new world, right? This game was made and it was not called Resident Evil. I would not have touched this game. I would not have touched this game with a 10-foot pole. I literally, I cannot imagine any reason why someone would rank this any higher besides nostalgia. The game is so confused. There's so much going on. It's not scary. The action is so irritating at times. The characters are just okay. I really hate the pacing of this game. I really hate how they sort of stopped trying. Like especially when okay, so like the thing is, when you are playing like one good thing is like okay, so when you're playing like Jake and Sherry's campaign and you have to run away from the big claw guy, and you gotta not make any noise. You gotta take out like the bat drums. That's something interesting because you can't just mindlessly drone through it. You are mindlessly going through this whole game. Like Jake, and Sherry, Jake, Pierce, and Sherry. Sorry, I forgot about Pierce. Rest in peace. Um, their campaigns are so similar because you're facing the exact same enemies for both of them. And it's just once you stop having zombies in Resident Evil 6 and you start facing enemies that shoot at you, it immediately breaks the immersion for me, because what was immersive was playing as Leon and Helena, and you're going through this building, and then you see this guy, and then his daughter's infected, and then he gets infected. You go outside, there's chaos. You see the outbreak starting for the first time in that city. You see people trying to survive. You help people survive, and then you all get on a bus, and then literally everyone dies, and so it's kind of like, what was the point? And then you go to the church, and when you get to the church, it's possible for everyone to die in the church, but the characters there don't matter either. And then you sort of go into like this dungeon, and you just keep going down, and you're like, bro, how deep is this cave? And you fight literally two different bosses in this massive cave that just keeps descending, and then you just go in a water slide, and you fall out of the side of the mountain, and you're like, what? Yeah, and the gameplay is actually it's really nice sometimes. I really like the ability to dodge and jump away. I like how characters have some alternate firing styles, like Leon with the dual pistols. That's something new, and it's really fun. I really like the reticle in this game. I feel like I can aim pretty consistently. The guns in this game, though, suck a lot, because besides the Magnum or like the grenade launcher, it feels like you're shooting a Nerf gun. It feels, and then bullets, bro. Enemies take so many bullets in this game. Sometimes it's so irritating, and then it's just the fact that like so much stuff can just knock the wind out of you completely, and you're just laying on the ground for like 2 seconds, and you can't get up, and that it can happen over and over and over again. Sometimes you can tech roll it, sometimes you can't, but that's just, yeah, that's just irritating. It's the thing about like Resident Evil 5 is Resident Evil 5 still has like a lot of charm, and it still has like an identity, and they actually like introduced a new character that you care about, and it still is like more of a complete story than the mess that is Resident Evil 6. I would rather they just made this Chris, not like either like an original character, like make it matter of fact, just make it like a Jake and Jerry game. Like honestly, they have the most plot relevance besides like Ada Wong in this game. Just make it a Jake and Jerry. That would have been so much better. Uh, but yeah, it's the longest mainline Resident Evil game. The game takes like 20 hours to beat, and mainly, and that's if you don't run past anything as well. That's if you don't run past anything. I don't think nothing justifies this game being how long it is. No, nothing, literally nothing. The multiple campaigns is really nice when you first start, but then you realize, oh, they want me to do this 5 times. Okay, okay. The only thing I really like about the game is like the bosses. The bosses are really interesting. I like the giant fly in this campaign. I like the giant BOWs in it's like a mini boss though, because they're pretty easy to kill. The giant BOWs in Jake and Cherry and Kristen Pierce's campaign. Because I like how they finally made a giant BOW that wasn't just a copy of El Gigante, because they did that for Resident Evil 5, and I thought that was pretty lazy. Let's see. Good things about Resident Evil 6. Uh, the game looks pretty nice sometimes, like graphically. It's the most cinematic Resident Evil, I think. Most definitely with the action, with the giant tanker falling into the street, and then somehow 10,000 explosions happen, and then you jump on a helicopter, and then you get on the helicopter, a zombie is on you, you kick the zombie off, and then you get on the helicopter, pilot is infected, or no, the guy in the back is infected, the pilot's dead, you gotta start piloting the helicopter, and then Helena's in the back seat fighting the infected guy, and you gotta look back and shoot. It's like it's very cinematic. It's what I expect from a it's what I expect from one of the 3D CG Resident Evil movies. But from a mainline series, like a mainline entry, no, not at all. It's just so, it's just not Resident Evil sometimes. Like, it's just there's no inventory management. Like, the only issues you'll have with inventory is, oh, I have too many bullets for this gun, so I guess I gotta just like dump them all into the next enemy and then go back and pick up these bullets. That's it. There's no, you don't really. It feels like in this game you don't really get rewarded for playing conservatively like you should in a Resident Evil game. Like, even in Resident Evil 4, you had to be strategic. You're like, okay, I'm gonna shoot this enemy in the head. I'm gonna kick them, knife them when they get down. Boom! I just saved myself 5 handgun bullets. Or you're gonna go, okay, you know what? I'm gonna dump all my upgrades in Resident Evil 5 into this gun because I know that I'm going to get critical hits with a handgun, or I'm going to go for a sniper, and then that's going to be my main damage. That's going to be my main damage. I'm not going to pick up a Magnum this run because the inventory was scarce in that game, and there was still at least some inventory management. Not enough to satisfy me in Resident Evil 5. Not enough inventory management to satisfy me, but enough to where it actually felt like you had to manage some resemblance of an inventory. It's so action horror that it really feels like there's no risk. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't really make this sound any better, but you shoot, you either kill the enemy or you die, and your partner picks you up, or you respawn, and you just do it all over again. And only people who have played the game are going to understand that sentiment. I know that applies to every single game here, but it really, really, really applies to Resident Evil 6 when it feels like that's all you're doing for the entire game. That's what it's gonna feel like. It's just gonna feel like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Especially when the last 3 campaigns of the game. I'm sorry, there's 4 because there's the prologue and then there are other ones. Sorry, I said 5 earlier, but the 5th one doesn't really count because that's the prologue. It feels like, okay, you have zombies, you're saving people, you fight one guy like 3 times, and I mean the boss itself isn't really interesting, but the set pieces are interesting because you're like fighting him on a train. And then after that you go to Chris, and then you go to Jake and Sherry, then you go to Ada, and then you're fighting the same enemies over and over and over again, and it's just not fun at all. I just don't understand why they would bloat the game like this. It feels like this was supposed to be the final Resident Evil or something, but we all know that that's not what it was going to be. So I'm just like, why would they waste all these opportunities, all these characters for this game? Because really, we could have gotten like a Jake and Sherry game, and then that would have been interesting. And then the whole thing and the whole plot could just be that, kind of like how it is in the game, how Jake is the key to getting antibodies for the infection, and Sherry is the agent who has to help him. Kind of like a Resident Evil 0 situation, how I forgot the guy's name because I have not finished Resident Evil 0. I said that earlier. I started it, but I didn't. But I know the dynamic because Rebecca's a STARS member, and then the other guy is like a fugitive. It could just be like Jake's a mercenary, but then Sherry has to work with him because he's the key to stopping all of this. And boom, that's a compelling game right there. You have 2 character system, so they can still do co-op, and I know that people will still be happy because well, like Resident Evil, you're playing as 2 characters, at least 2 characters. you have your two characters. You have your B movie. You have your B movie plot. And yeah, just build off of that. Make the game like, I don't know, like 10, 12 hours, or just do something. But yeah, the Resident Evil 6 is my least favorite Resident Evil game, but it's not the worst. Umbrella Corp is the worst one. Because I mean, unlike Resistance is like mid, but it's free. You get it with Resident Evil 3, so you get mid with mid. Essentially, you get mid with mid, but it's content. So I mean, I'm not gonna be mad at free content. So yeah, this is the Resident Evil tier list. I have four, the original four. Let me put that right there. I have four remake, the original four, two separate ways. I have seven village. Uh, uh, I'm counting this as a gold edition, a village, not just the Shadow Rose, just like the whole package as a whole. Um, and then the base game of Village is down here because that Mercenaries was just awful. The original Resident Evil because I mean the game's old, but it's still fun, and I guess it can be like a little spooky at sometimes, but it's just not consistently scary to me. Five down here because I mean they dip into action horror, and it's just not what made Resident Evil super fun with like unlimited ammunition turret sections fighting a big BOW, and then you're just kind of all over the place in this game. That's another thing that I forgot to really like touch on, but it has affected these rankings. I really like it when Resident Evil focuses on like a single area instead of jumping all over. Like you'll notice up here, like the games that I like are the games where you are in one area and you're not jumping all over. You stay in the village in four. There's Village Castle Island, and I mean the island makes sense, but guess what? It's still a part of the Los Illuminados territory. Two, you stay in Raccoon City. Perfect, perfect. That's the residence. You stay in the Baker Estate until the horrible boat section. You stay in the village. You stay in the Arclay Mountains up here, and then in three, I guess you stay in Raccoon City. But yeah, there are other reasons for three being this low. Five, yeah, you're just kind of all over the place. Same with six. Revelations 2 is just like, I mean, they did their best for with the resources they had because it's not a mainline entry. But I just really hate how they wasted Claire Redfield for this game because I mean she deserves to be up here in one of the mainline games. I mean she is, but I mean I just want her to have her own game. Same with Sheva, but like more so Claire because Claire is kind of like she's a legacy character, so at this point she should be this high up. But I mean, yeah, give both of them mainline games. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, Resistance is just mid, boring. Umbrella Corps is just not very good. It's a live service ish Resident Evil game. Haven't finished these. I'm probably gonna play Zero on the channel because I mean, it makes sense to play a mainline Resident Evil game that I haven't played on the channel. Code Veronica, I'm probably not going to play on the channel because I just have no interest in going back to that game. I mean, at least with Zero, it's like, okay, I want to play a mainline entry that I'm missing in my collection, but it's just whatever. Dark Side Chronicles, I played for a little bit. It was kind of goofy, but I mean, I can see the appeal. I mean, if they port this game to like Switch and then they have like motion controls or mouse controls, it would be a lot of fun. Revelations 1, I do not like because the game just feels like Resident Evil 5, but like Frankenstein Resident Evil 5. I don't know how to explain it because I mean they were made around the same time, I guess. So I mean, that's These games I am only going to play like later in life. I have no interest in. Well, I mean, besides this, the DLC for 7, I have no interest in playing the original Resident Evil. I have no interest in playing Nemesis. I do have a modded 3DS, so I could get Mercenaries 3D. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll download Mercenaries 3D and I'll give it a try. I mean, just for convenience sake, because I can play the game. But all these other ones, like, yeah, besides this one, and then maybe this one, I just have no interest in playing them. So yeah, that's the Resident Evil tier list. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later.